Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our show brought to you by NovaCopy. Small business owners, big business owners, business managers. Right now, everyone is looking to cut their costs. The smartest way to do that? Make a quick call to Benny Malicote, Trent Stevens, and the gang at NovaCopy this week. Get a cost-free analysis of your company's workflow, then see for yourself how NovaCopy can save your business money. There's nothing more important. Trust me, as a businessman, I'd love to save more money, which is why some of these guys may disappear in the coming weeks. Save yourself money by calling NovaCopy. All right, back with Mike and Will and Josh, and we're going to talk bowls over at the NovaCopy drawing board. I'm going to leave this up for a little bit so you can read some of this stuff. We have the Big Six bowls up at the top. We have the SEC's remaining times over in the left column. So the Big Six bowls, sort of in black, that's sugar and rose. Then you got the orange and peach and the cotton and fiesta. That's all selected by the selection committee. The playoff committee picks the playoffs, but they also pick 4 other bowls after that. Then the Capital One Bowl is tied to the SEC. They get to pick their own team, their own representative. That's the old-fashioned way. The bowl picks the team. After that, you got 6 bowls in red. Those are all picked by the SEC. The bowl requests teams. The teams request bowls. The SEC tries to match it up. And I can tell you right now, all these bowls are on ESPN. The SEC is partnered with ESPN. So when we say that the SEC is going to pick who's going where, it's going to be ESPN that has a pretty big say in who goes where. They've got mounds of data in terms of what fan bases watch what games at what times against what types of teams. So I think the ESPN thing, they'll have a big handle in this. But also in those 6 you see up there, I've got 3 that have asterisks beside them. That would be the Music City, Belk, and Liberty. And those are the 3 that most folks think Tennessee will wind up in. Then at the bottom, if Tennessee somehow doesn't go in those middle 6, you've got the Birmingham Bowl and the Independence Bowl, and they will be picking after those other 6 in the old-fashioned bowl picks the team thing. It's a little crazy in terms of how this thing works out. When you look at the payouts also, somebody asked me this week, the SEC's assigning teams to those middle 6 bowls. They don't have the same payouts. So is the SEC going to be giving more cash to some of these teams than others? If you go to the Outback, you get more, and you stuck in the Liberty, you make less. What the SEC is doing is anybody in those mid-6, for the most part, anybody that's making between 1.5 and 3.5, they all get to keep X amount of it. They pay the rest back to the conference, and it's split up evenly. So no one, if Tennessee gets thrown to the Liberty and you were hoping for the Outback, it's not like the SEC is going to cost them $2 million in payout. So just to make that clear. Now, my question, you look at all that, and you look at all those bowl-eligible teams, they're all over on the right. That's not where I think they're going to be going. That's just the bowl-eligible teams, where they're ranked. I got one record wrong in Texas A&M because I did this at 2 in the morning. They are 7-5, not 6-6. But, guys, you look at that list, Music City, Belk, Liberty most likely. Josh, you've done this all week. Do you think there's any chance they slide to any of those other bowls?
There's, I guess, a chance, maybe a fear, because you're talking about lobbying going on this week. I think it's most likely that Tennessee ends up at one of the 3 bowls that it requested. I would say Liberty is where I would start there. That's the most likely spot. I think that'd be really good for Tennessee. Typical year, you're not thinking, hey, Liberty is where we want to end up. I don't think that's where Will's teams were hoping to end up. But this year, I think that's a good spot. And in Memphis, I think that would be favorable to Tennessee.
I was about to say, from a recruiting standpoint, and Will, you're from Jackson, Mississippi. Memphis might as well be in the state of Mississippi.
Yep.
With Ole Miss growing, there are worse places to go from a recruiting aspect than Memphis this year for Tennessee.
Strategically, for recruiting purposes, it is a very good place to have a bowl game this year. I mean, where Tennessee's at, they've got some recruits in and around that area that they're looking at trying to pull away from Ole Miss at the last hour here. So I think overall, that would be an ideal place for the growth of the program. Obviously, for a player, not the bowl I would want to go to ever, but these guys are just trying to get to their bowl game.
Well, I mean, and here's the thing. I mean, Memphis, Charlotte, it's not like it's sugar or Liberty.
Yes.
As a player, you want to go where you can get the most mileage money, right?
That's true. And I heard that Memphis actually has a pretty high, inbound fee, so that actually might be better than Nashville. So I mean, it might be your best bet for which one you're going to get the most bowl money for.
All right, we got a couple of Memphises over here. If you're Tennessee, where do you want to go here?
Well, I think you'd love to go to the Music City, but I really think if they were at 7-5, that might happen. But again, this is different because, like you said, this is ESPN and the SEC office. This isn't the Music City Bowl necessarily saying who do we want. So I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
They know Tennessee travels well. They know Tennessee fans will buy tickets. But, how much does that matter to ESPN? I don't know.
Yeah, and the thing is, how much does it matter to the bowls anymore? That used to be just look at who travels and they'll get the best bids. Now that the middle class has been kind of squeezed out and nobody's really jumped back in, guns blazing with the economy, I think that it may be more of a case of these bowls getting their money from ESPN, getting their money from some huge corporate sponsor. They all have corporate sponsors now. Half of them are just named after their corporate sponsor. So if you're trying to make your money that way, it might not matter as much that somebody's in the area and they come to the game, but they're not going to stay 3 nights. So we really don't know. This is going to be very telling today. And today at 12:30, they're going to start the announcement of the playoff teams. Then later this afternoon, about 3 o'clock, they're going to name those other bowls. And then from there on, it trickles down. So you should know Tennessee's bowl. We should know that by this afternoon, 5, 6 o'clock somewhere.
I wrote this week, I think the Liberty Bowl is probably the most likely is what we're hearing. But I wrote this week, I think the Belk Bowl is a good option for Tennessee because they are really recruiting. They've got 3 scholarship guys from North Carolina. They got 3 commitments coming in the class of 15 from North Carolina, and a lot of them are from that Charlotte area. So I think that's a good fallback.
And Josh, they also tweeted around a little bit, had some fun with Tennessee fans earlier in the week. Some Tennessee fans tweeted them. They tweeted back. I haven't seen them all week tweet other fan bases, but they were the Belk Bowl's official Twitter site. Had a little fun with Tennessee fans, which, does that mean anything? Who knows?
They started following some Knoxville media members on Twitter. I don't think I was one of those, so I was a little offended, and that's why I'm more on the Memphis side.
All right, very good. All right, we don't even know if the Liberty Bowl tweets. So, okay, when we come back, who might Tennessee play in these bowls? We'll show the list. There's about 10 or 11 teams that might be in this kind of range where Tennessee's likely to fall. We'll tell you which of those Tennessee should want to play. Come on back on the Sports Source.
Follow the Sports Source online at sportsource.tv and on Twitter at SportsSourceTV.